Welcome back. It is another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. I'm Aaron Smith, joined by my two co-hosts, the self-proclaimed best producer in the city, Ed Mayhall, and a guy probably most popular, maybe even more so than being a part of Pardon the Punctuation, but being a part of the Bearcat Brunch, Jeff Howell.
What's up, guys?
Jeff, your mix sounds great.
Thanks, Ed.
How's your week been since last week, since it was a crazy 7 days?
This is like the first coaching search that I've been on this side of it for. And
you were with us for Wes, weren't you?
Yeah, but not like
in the trenches.
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun on top of like my regular job, which was off the wall this week. So
well,
your week, did you go to soccer tournaments?
There's soccer tournaments in the winter. Actually, there is a tournament coming up in a couple weeks. No, we had soccer on Saturday and then kind of just chilled around the house.
Nice.
Did a little shopping.
Aaron has a little one.
She had her 4-month checkup today, and we were told that what she had going on yesterday was just viral. She'll work through it, and today was way better than it was yesterday.
You got some sleep? Little sleep, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Maybe walk out on us.
Hey, pipe down on that.
Who's playing audio?
Not me.
Jeffrey.
All right. Well, we got a lot to get to tonight,
Yeah.
but let's start off with the coaching search, as the Cincinnati Bearcats named a new head coach this week.
Jesus, that's got to go away.
It does. It has to go away.
It's the
last week of that one. That one's gone.
Thanks, Deanna. I appreciate the concern. So
what's up?
Scott Satterfield was named the new head coach of your Cincinnati Bearcats, taking over for the winningest coach in program history, Luke Fickell. What were your initial thoughts, Ed, when you found out about Coach Scott Satterfield coming off of roughly a 500 career at Louisville?
My first thoughts are, who is this guy? Right? We haven't heard from Louisville football since, that guy from Northwest graduated from there. I forget his name all of a sudden. Played for the Bengals.
Richard, thank you for the donation, and I appreciate the tip of the cap.
Yeah, Smith's voice. I'll get it. I get it now. Welcome back. I'm slow, guys. Anyways, first initial thought was, who is this guy? Like I said, we haven't heard of him for a while, since the allegations came out and all that kind of stuff at that university, not with him, but at that university. Then started, waiting for Chad's tweet to come out about it to make it official. And then started looking up some information. I mean, winning seasons, I'm still kind of up in the air about it. How about you,
Jeff?
To steal the line that you used, I wasn't. I don't know. It was one of those things where I felt like we were in a position where we were going to get this like a big name, the Dion thing went out there. I don't think any of us, we kind of reiterated it numerous times that we didn't think that was a true possibility. But I thought that we could command a kind of a household name, maybe, with where we were at and what had gone on here. So when I saw the name, and I was like, same thing as Ed. I honestly didn't really it didn't move me. I didn't know who he was. But I also didn't know who Wes Miller was when that happened. We kind of, as this kept dragging on, it felt like, even though it was just a week-long search, and you look at a place like Colorado that has not, or Wisconsin, has been without a coach for weeks, months, and that's how long their coaching searches went on, right? And this happened in a week. So, out of left field, John Cunningham style, the dude locks down in a bunker, and it seems like it's him and, probably his a couple trusted advisors, and
somebody bringing him snacks.
Well, I've come around a little bit, and I don't want anybody to think I'm just being a University of Cincinnati bootlicker or anything like that. But I've come around a little bit. I was not initially thrilled with the hire. As UCF superfan says, that we need to stop being so negative. But reality is,
I got something to say about that.
Satterfield is our guy until he isn't our guy. And sitting here and just kind of mulling over what might have been, or just kind of, what?
I'm saying timeout to superfan over here.
Well, he's saying
this isn't my current thoughts.
I don't know that he's necessarily even talking about just us.
Okay.
It might be Bearcat Nation in general.
Right. That's fair. That's fair.
But I did want to real quick shout out before I finish up that rant. Connor Cole, thank you for the donation, $5. What's our realistic record next year? We got to see what
the schedule is.
The staff is put together, the roster that is put together, and the
players.
That is the roster, and the schedule.
You said roster. I thought coaches. All of a sudden, that would be staff.
Also, thank you to J.A. Strong 513. We appreciate the love, and T-Win for Ed's face lotion for that $1 million smile. You did chop off the beard, bud.
Yeah, that was kind of a stress shave on Sunday night.
All right. Very good.
I was worrying about the coaching job. I went upstairs to brush my teeth and everything, and I looked over and I was like, man, is that a bald patch? I was like, screw it, shave it all off.
Well, I do want to continue on about the coach. Like I said, he is our guy until he's our guy. And I found out a nice little nugget about him today, and we'll get to that. But I want to talk about his presser first. Ed, I know you said you watched the presser. I'm sure that also includes maybe Chad's interview as well. But do you have any overall thoughts on? I'm not going to ask you to break it down or anything, but what were your thoughts after watching both the presser and Chad's exclusive interview? It wasn't so exclusive because it also included Justin Williams from The Athletic. Yeah,
because Justin made sure it was not exclusive. To kind of go back to UC Superfans. Well, I'll come back to that in just a second. I was excited that they automatically handed him a visor. I think visors are going to become very popular here in Cincinnati, hopefully pretty soon.
Better than bucket hats.
Better than bucket hats, although my Skyline ones are right over there.
Can't wear visors backwards. Chad proved that the other day.
I feel like I can. The presser, I thought he came out very well. I think the video came out before he actually came out in the presser of him talking to the players and, in the locker room. I thought he handled that well. I thought he handled his presser very well. I thought he answered some of the questions very well, which kind of brings me back to Superfan's point that he had, they treated him like crap at U of L. And I think we saw that in the presser, that apparently that guy who drove up from Louisville 2 hours to try to get him to trash his old school multiple times. I didn't think about that until later today. So to Superfans, to his comment, you're right. They did kind of treat him like crap over there. But Chad's interview with him.
He inherited a terrible situation from Bobby Petrino round 2.
Yes.
Obviously, everything going on with Bobby Petrino and his neck brace and motorcycle accident with his girlfriend on the back. I mean,
maybe not girlfriend. Who knows?
/ employee.
/ whatever.
I don't know. The whole thing was a shit show, a giant shit show.
So before I watched Chad's interview, not exclusive interview, I did go to soccer practice and spoke to one of the dads there. He was a big U of L fan. He's like, thank you for taking him. He was on his way out the door, which had me a little concerned. I don't know, whatever. Had me a little concerned because I've been hearing that, on Twitter as well. But then I went back and watched Chad's presser or Chad's interview with him, and I thought he answered the questions correctly. I mean, I thought he gave me a little bit of hope that he's here to help us into the Big 12. He's here to put together a good strong program. So let's see what he can do. I will support him until he gives me a reason not to.
Jeffrey, your thoughts on the presser and the interview?
So my biggest takeaway from the entire thing, and it's something that I mentioned between us, he comes off very much like a football coach with the coach speak, and I know you guys have hit on that yesterday and on any one of the nightcaps if you want to go listen to those as far as like coach speak. But the thing he said that that really kind of started to turn me more towards like, okay, like I'm here for this. I mean, I'm going to give the guy, he is our guy. I tweeted it out, and that tweet has been a banger. Thanks to everybody that's liked it. He Twitter viral. No, he mentioned bringing in, that he's here to bring in coaches to surround these guys, to lift them up, to help coach them up as men and as players. And he's got now a $7.25 million assistant pool that he can go out and pick up some. I mean, you could get some pretty good assistants with that amount of money. You can use it to draw them here. If they're looking at a couple different places, being able to pay them a little more. Sometimes we all know money talks. So sure. if you're looking at a couple assistants and this guy or whatever, and you need to be able to pony up a little extra cash, UC has basically made that commitment right now, right away. Here's $7.25 million. Last year, from what I could find, like OSU's assistant pool last year was $7.6 million. So yep. I mean, we're going into the Power Five. We've talked about like John Cunningham. They've all talked about being day one ready. That's all part of it. It seems to be a guy that understands that where the landscape of college football is headed is embracing the NIL. We've beat that drum now for 2 years, and it's really come to kind of rear its head here in Cincinnati recently, that like it's not where it needs to be. We've got Cincy Reigns that's coming around, and
I can't wait for that conversation, which I believe should be happening on the BCJ pod tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, 8:00, John Cunningham, Brian Fox, both live on the BCJ podcast. Should be
to talk
very interesting.
Yeah, to talk about
Cincy Reigns.
Cincy Reigns and the NIL and all of that.
BCJ X Cincy Reigns X UC Athletic Department. So those are all like very positive things. Does he have the chops to do it? I think so. I mean, he had obviously the majority of his wins came as the head coach at App State. He mentioned that he followed in the footsteps of Jerry Moore there as the winningest coach at App State. He had success there. Obviously, like the Louisville thing, I mean, yeah, he was there. If you want to look at just records, he was average. I think that he is going to be able to do what we need to do. He's used to being in a spot where not only is he taken over for somebody that was successful and been able to perform, but he also transitioned a team from, I mean, for lack of a lower conference to a bigger conference. He's done that. Here he's not part of the beginning part. He is part of the future. So we'll see. He said he wants to go get the right guys, said all the right things, on top of, getting me kind of excited about it. So
said he wants to retain some coaches, which is nice.
He did say he wanted to, that the door was open and that it was Kerry Combs' decision if he wanted to be a part of it or not.
Right.
I know that somewhere on Twitter today it was tweeted out that Chad said that he was in fact retaining him and he was like already locked down, and that is not in fact the case. As far as I know at this point right now, the door is open. If Kerry, and that I think that is, I mean, if there's an assistant that's here that needs to get like maybe a little extra treatment to get him to stay, Kerry Combs.
Now, as you guys voiced all of what you like about him thus far, what if I told you that today he had a Zoom call with somewhere around 70 to 75 former Cincinnati Bearcats players? What would your thoughts be on that, Ed?
That's good, right? That's we Wes did the same thing. What are you laughing at?
Just your presentation in all of its glory.
You're welcome. That's good. We were excited when Wes did that, right? Because in the basketball program, we had some turmoil with former players, with the whole let's hire Nick Van Exel thing and everything like that. So we were excited that he reached out via Zoom and to those former players. And so I think Scott doing the same thing with the football players. I mean, I think that's the right thing to do. He needs that backing of that of those alumni, especially if you have folks in that Zoom call, and we don't know who was in the Zoom call, but if you have folks in that Zoom call like a Travis Kelce, like a Jason Kelce, like some of these guys who are in the NFL and who can also help out with that NIL money, hopefully. So no, I think that's the right thing to do. I think it was a good move.
Jeff?
Surprisingly, Ed hit a lot of very, very solid points there. We were excited when Wes came in and did it with the basketball players. I think what we heard that the players that were in this Zoom call today were ranged from like in their 60s all the way to like pretty recent guys. It's important, obviously, to have the buy-in of former players, and especially like Ed said, like guys that maybe have a little bit of reach and can continue to say like, they're proud of being from Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a good place to go. That's where let's be honest. Like if you've got guys like Sauce Gardner out there who, carry the torch of Cincinnati in the NFL, and they're still able to say like, yeah, that's a good spot to go. Right. Because this isn't his coaching staff that's here. We certainly don't want Sauce Gardner saying like, nah, go to Wisconsin, like go where my guys are. We don't want that.
No.
So it's important, I think, for a coach to come in and get the buy-in, not only from the guys that are here and future players, but also the alumni and the guys that built the program into what it is now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. I think that's a huge move on Coach Satterfield's part to, get this out of here. He has been here for all of not even 48 hours at this point. And in that time span, as he needs to focus on recruiting, putting together a staff, and learning where his office is, for that matter, like learning campus, what's around on campus and all of that. He took time out of his schedule, though, to meet with as many players as he could on a Zoom call. And I don't know, I think that speaks volumes, especially when you see some of the things that are starting to leak out of Louisville from former players' families, and all of that, which obviously don't paint him in a great light. But those are going to be the things that creep out and get the most traction, not the thank you for giving me a scholarship, giving me an opportunity, giving me a chance. And you good, Ed?
Yeah, sorry.
But I think that's important.
I mean, to Mitchell's point over here in the chat, what's more important is to understand the culture and keep it the same. And
we talked about that a bit last night, though. You're not going to be able to keep it quite the same.
No, but
you can try and maintain some portions of the culture, but it's going to be a whole different staff, a whole different coach, and there's going to be different expectations. So the culture is going to shift, plain and simple.
Well,
but you want to keep winning, the winning culture, the tough nose, Clifton style tough culture. The same.
It's still important to understand where the program was and where, like, you can see things from the outside. I mean, he did make mention that he's watched the program from afar. We found out, which I didn't know until Chad's interview, that Satterfield was the runner-up to Luke Fickell. Obviously, that was even under a different, Mike Bone was here. I mean, that was a different group of hiring folks. And he landed second on that list. So he's got a little bit of an understanding from that, I would assume. And now that he's got the reins and decided that, hey, I'm going to come in here, and one of the first things I'm going to do is meet with as many of the alumni guys as I can to try to. I mean, we don't know what the content of the meeting was.
No, but I have heard.
Like,
I have heard the temperature was that most guys were somewhere between satisfied and I don't know that I quite got excited, but somewhere between satisfied and happy with the way that the Zoom call went. So somewhere in that range. The guy hasn't done anything to get excited about at this point. If you're a former player, you've seen the heights that this program can get to. So I don't know that you can quite be excited yet, but I think you can be positive. I think you can be eager to see what can happen with this new staff, with a new roster, and with the changes going on at Nippert.
Yeah, I would think that where they're at now, like with him coming in, it's less a like a doom and gloom kind of like. Look, we didn't hire like a high school coach from somewhere. We didn't get end up with like a MAC assistant coach or something. You know what I mean? Like it's not like that. It's a guy that understands winning, and he seems to be coming in here and saying and doing all the right things thus far. I thought it was really important that he addressed. I don't know what that was. That he addressed not coaching in the bowl game and not participating in any of the bowl prep, and hitting the ground running immediately into. I know he's bringing recruits in this weekend and next weekend to try to retain some of the recruiting class if he can, if they fit his style, and then also being able to hit the portal. So, I mean, he made mention that he doesn't like the fact that this bowl game is on the date that it is. It makes it very difficult for them because signing day is the 21st, right?
I believe so.
I mean, Chad can correct me if I'm wrong. I know he's listening somewhere in the background. But signing day being the 21st, that's 4 days after this bowl game. So if you put everything into bowl prep and then the bowl game, and then you have a very minimal window, that kind of puts you're back against a wall. And the things he's doing, he's letting
December
it run.
21st.
Not only is that signing day, but it's also going to be a critical weekend. You can bring transfer portal guys on official visits. So as your staff gets set up between this weekend, next weekend, and the following weekend for transfer portal guys, and for some, you don't, what people have a grave misunderstanding of, there's more than one day to sign. Like the signing day is not the be all end all.
Right.
So he's taking this weekend, next weekend, which will be, it's crazy to think next weekend is the bowl game. The season just fucking ended. Next weekend is the bowl game, but that weekend and then the following weekend will be official visit stuff where they're getting guys on campus and making their pitch. So it just makes sense. Like, you're wasting a weekend of the future of this program going to Boston and pretending to like that's a bad spot for a dude, right? And
has that ever happened?
Jeff, I don't know that it ever has. And Jeff, do you know the layout in Boston?
Yeah, they're on the same sideline.
Yeah, Louisville here, Cincinnati here, like 20 yards in between them.
Like some Gatorade containers, maybe the keg of nails stands on top of a
Can we talk
pedestal
about
in between
that?
them.
Jeff, did you watch the interview that Chad did with Scott? How about that? They disrespect the keg of nails like that by just leaving it, letting an equipment manager take it home and leave.
Somebody took it, nobody's playing for the keg of nails anymore.
Yeah,
but
the equipment manager's had it at his house.
You put that in a trophy case.
For what? You're not playing UC anymore. Do we have the River City rivalry trophy in the trophy case?
Do we?
No.
Well, we should. Who do I need to talk to?
That thing's like 1,000 pounds. That's like the victory bell. It's like 1,000 pounds.
Can I purchase it?
Probably not, because they play the next 2 years, Ed.
When it's over, can I purchase it?
If UC comes home with it, maybe.
All right.
Maybe you could go be an equipment manager, Ed.
That thing is also, the River City Rivalry Trophy is like 7 feet tall. It's huge.
Ooh, don't know where I'm gonna put that actually.
It
would
might
be
not
sweet.
be 7, but it's a big trophy.
I'm just thinking how sweet that would be in the background when I'm on a Zoom call for work.
Remember that
Just
time
sitting
you
back there?
bought a concessions roof?
Can I
Yeah,
tell
well-
you about that?
No,
No.
not right now. Save
Not
that
right
for the
now.
lightning round.
You can talk about it lightning round. Oh
Damn
no, I
it.
wanted to ask Chad a question just to make sure that I was not leaving some things out. But
Sorry.
as far as coaches that are confirmed coming from Louisville, we've got Pete Thomas, the quarterbacks coach, and Brian Brown, the defensive coordinator.
Correct.
And that's all that's confirmed at this point, right?
Yeah, so far.
Okay. Copy
You do have like their offensive coordinators in the mix for the Western. Yes, it was in the trophy case, but they don't play Pitt, and it hasn't been in the trophy case for a while. The offensive coordinators in the mix for the Western Michigan job. So Jeff Thomas, I think is his name. We'll see how that goes. I think there's another 1 or 2 guys that are potential to join him, but Jeff, you also are working with a much larger assistant pool than he had at
Yes.
Louisville. So maybe you take some swings
Because his strength and conditioning coach left and went
to Arkansas.
to
So he's
So-
looking for a strength coach.
He needs one of those. And I know he said that was obviously that was a key member of his staff that he wanted to work on picking up very soon.
Yeah,
So.
they said they're going to spend a lot of the first week here trying to find the strength and conditioning coach. Is he bringing his recruiting staff? That is in progress. I think that is probably going to depend on who gets hired at Louisville.
Well, but I mean, Pete Thomas, the quarterback coach, is a vital piece to recruiting in California. Correct? Am I wrong on that?
You're correct on that, but some of that is Adidas, NIL,
Okay.
web intertwined. But he does have a presence on the West Coast. Yes.
Oh, there's a good question from Connor Cole. Are there any strength and conditioning coaches that come to mind as available, or somebody that you would look towards?
That's not a world I know a lot about outside of our relationship with Brady. So
Right.
I don't know the answer to that.
Can I a couple questions that came in here, and I'm pretty sure the answer to this. I know changing coaches doesn't do anything for the access to. Oh, sorry, I read that as different. I read that as this doesn't do anything to us being able to train at higher ground.
That's
No,
exactly
it doesn't. No, he's talking about our access to higher ground,
yeah.
because we're there every day and get to report every day. I got the sense from Satterfield when we spoke to him that things will be pretty similar. Now, obviously, we're going to have to build trust and build relationships and do all the things that are required to get that information. But I did not get the sense that Satterfield was going to be a guy that locked everything down and made access difficult for us. So I think we should be okay there. I don't have that answer 100%, but I think we'll be okay.
I did want to mention somebody
Yeah.
in the chat said
Clear that up
David
too.
Beers went in
No,
the
he didn't.
transfer portal. He's still planning on going to the Crosstown Shootout. From everything that I've seen on his Twitter, he still has his commitment video up as his pinned tweet for anybody who actually cares. But
And he's also ordered some more Skyline chili suits to give away. So
I don't find that to be true.
that is
Thanks,
true.
Jeff.
He said it.
We're not talking
I
about
I
that,
didn't
Ed.
post anything
Oh.
about any offers today. Maybe Dave did. Dave runs again. For anybody that doesn't know, there's a lot of people here. Like and subscribe while you're in here.
Right.
Dave runs the Bearcat Journal Twitter account. I do not run that account. I have way too much stuff on my plate to run multiple Twitter accounts. I'm not.
Also, anything about recruiting and offers and commitments and all of that, you'll find on BearcatJournal.com. Not
Right.
Yeah, make sure you go
Not me.
subscribe.
He did tweet out that high 3-star cornerback Jay Davis was offered by UC. He's a Louisville commit.
So it would make sense because Brian Brown is the defensive coordinator. He's also the cornerback coach.
The DB coach, yep.
Yeah, so there you go.
I'm here for
All
it.
right.
A lot of love for the bucket hat in the chat, by the way, guys. A lot of love for the bucket hat.
It's a novelty.
Just jealous you don't have one.
Yep, something like that. So, speaking of coaches that are coming up with him, Brian Brown, the defensive coordinator, and like Chad just said, is the DB's coach. This year, 2022 season, Louisville finished 3rd in turnovers gained, 28. They averaged 3.58 sacks a game and 12th in tackles for loss per game with 7.2. So I think, I hope I'm not totally off on this, but I think we'll see the same, and he kind of mentioned it, the same aggressive style defense that we're used to. Kind of goes towards what Aaron was mentioning with like that Clifton Tough kind of personality that we like to see across all of our athletics programs. So hopefully we'll see some more of that, hard nosed, get after the ball, the takeaways, the things that, we've kind of prided ourselves on. I don't know if they'll still go by the Black Cats, but maybe they'll come up with some other kind of name for the defense, but we'll still see hopefully that same kind of spirit that we're used to seeing here.
Bearcat 12, yes, their stadium is on campus, but not like it is.
It's not in the middle of the campus.
Yeah, it's off to the side. It's on the outskirts.
Yeah.
So it's not like it is at Nippert. It's not in the heart of the campus.
All right. Greg Vito just jumped on. Coombs is certainly a priority. That was addressed in Chad's exclusive interview that you can find on this YouTube page. That was, the door is open.
He basically said that it's up to Combs. He would like to keep him on the staff. He made that very clear to him, but it's up to Combs.
Which I think we can all agree. Which I think we can all agree is very key to recruiting in this area. So,
So I know you were talking about the defense. Does the aggressiveness that does get the turnovers, it does get the tackles for losses and that kind of thing, yet gives up big plays, does that scare you a little bit? Or is that just part of like the compliment and why you have to have the high flying offense that Coach Satterfield also likes to run? Well,
that, and I mean, when you think about it, I don't know. It does. It's kind of like a double-edged sword though, because like going into the Big 12, like it's not really like a defensive. You don't really think a whole lot about defense in the Big 12. It's a lot of high-powered offense.
But we've been running a 3-3-5 for years, and this is to also answer Connor Cole's question in the chat here. But we're going to be switching from what I understand to a 4-2-5. So obviously having 4 down linemen as opposed to the 3 we've been used to seeing with a linebacker maybe cheating up. It's going to be a whole new look defense going to a 4-2-5 where you're always throwing 4 defensive linemen out there. If both Briggs and obviously Corleone's all in, he's made that very clear. But you could have Briggs and Corleone out there stack in the middle, and I don't care what conference you're in. That's a tall task.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, if you're going to run it that way, and we saw it kind of like, obviously they did it a few times in the last few years when they needed to against like teams like Navy and that kind of thing. You've got to have the back of horses ready to swap in and out as that get, when you're running 3, you don't need nearly as many that you can,
right,
swap all the time. But obviously that's something that is dealt with through recruiting and who you bring in and the way that you're going to run. And he did mention that he's going to evaluate the personnel that he's got, and they will operate around the personnel that they have. And that's obviously all you can ask out of a coach. You don't want to force something in that isn't going to fit with the guys you've got.
Yeah, don't go square peg round hole.
Exactly. Also, I saw there was a tweet today from Corey Kiner, who seemed like he was also.
It wasn't a tweet; it was an Instagram post, and apparently, from what I'm seeing, that Instagram post has since been taken down.
Was it doctored?
I don't believe that it was doctored, but I think he was answering questions on his. Instagram.
Was it like an Instagram story? So it just went away,
right? But he was answering a question, and I guess it's been taken down or it went away, one or the other.
If it was a story, I think they just go away. But for what it's worth, it was out there.
Yes, I don't know until there's anything worth actually mentioning there. We don't know. Yeah. What we do know is, and Chad and I touched on it on the nightcap tonight, but the transfer portal, as it currently stands, is we knew about Luther Richardson. J.Q. Hardaway entered at the end of November along with JoJo Bermudez.
Oh, I didn't know Luther Richardson was in the portal.
He's been in the portal since August. Jake Renfro, December 1st, and then Ryan Coe and Jaquan Shepard have officially entered as of today. Jaden Thompson also tweeted out that he was going to be entering the transfer portal as well today. So we'll see.
I mean, some of these guys like that are entering now, it could very well be that, they've already had a meeting with coach and decided that it was, mutually beneficial to head other directions. So it is what it is. I mean, it goes down to, we know that there's going to be some turnover here. That always happens. I mean, look across the country. There's turnover everywhere.
Yeah,
right?
people have,
regardless if there's a coaching change or not. Dudes are hitting the portal.
There's already more people in the portal for UCF than for Cincinnati.
And they all want to go to Colorado. If you believe all this.
If you believe that tweet. Yeah.
Whatever. So you're going to have that stuff. Obviously, he made mention. He seems to understand the important parts of what he's got to get, what he has to take care of. I mean, his job depends on it, right? So he's got to get these things, hit the ground running and get into the Big 12. I mean, it's going to be a tall task either way. I mean, I think even if you go into the Big 12 with Luke Fickell, with everybody that was, let's say the whole commitment list stayed the same, and Luke Fickell's still here, and you're going to it's still. I don't think anybody was thinking that we were going to go into the Big 12 and roll through everybody and win a Big 12 championship right off the rip. I mean, we want to. Everybody wants to do that.
That's still even if you kept all your staff and if no one transferred out, and there's so many ifs involved with that. I don't want to even play that game. Nope. Again, this is who we got, and
he's our guy.
He is our guy until he's not. So,
Visors for life, gang, gang.
As always, go Bearcats.
Says the guy in a bucket hat.
I'll get a visor. Don't worry about that.
Huh.
I don't know if anybody asks a question that we didn't get to and you want to fire it back in there, have at it, and we can look at them. Greg Vito is saying allegedly, Jake Renfro is being offered $1 million by LSU.
That's bananas.
That's wild.
I guess they really want him to be part of their family.
I saw a report today on Twitter that quarterbacks are being offered upwards of $5 million. They didn't mention any names in that particular tweet, but I literally quote tweeted it and said, "This shit is bananas." BANANAS.
Aaron, imagine you were actually good at a sport and in college you were offered $5 million.
I'm not good enough at anything to be offered $5 million.
I mean, coach said, you got some situations out there where quarterbacks are making more than their quarterbacks, coach, and he thinks it's nuts.
Come on, happens in the NFL. Like, that's not crazy. That's just the way. That's just the way sports work. Like, you get paid for your performance, not for telling a guy how to perform.
UCF superfan. That's more than a backup NFL quarterback makes it in some situations.
It's more than Jordan Palmer made.
I mean, there's a lot of like, I don't know. I mean, we've talked about NIL, how like some places already had the infrastructure in place, and now they can bring it out into the open and do it without any repercussions. So there's a lot of catch up. There's a lot of catch up that's got to be made.
Listen, if you want to help pay $1 million to Evan Prater, make sure you check out Cincy Reigns on Twitter and make that donation.
Cameron says if Combs were to stay, what would his role be? He's currently the DB special teams. If the new DC is also DBs, where would Combs shift to? Maybe Combs stays as DBs in special teams, and the new DC just concentrates solely on DC stuff. Yeah. Maybe he stays as the special teams and recruiting and like puts more into recruit. I don't know. I just think him being on staff is
right. Sign him to the staff first, and then figure out what his role is after.
You name whatever he. I mean, if I don't even care if you want to call him an associate head coach, whatever you want to do, you just do it, and you keep him on staff.
The assistant to the regional.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever
absolutely.
You gotta do. Self-proclaimed best recruiter in the country. Whatever.
Headwater.
At least in the state.
Right.
The state of Cincinnati, for that matter. Any other final thoughts before we get out of the Cincinnati football and onto some other topics?
Did you guys get a Mick Cronin vibe from his interview with Chad?
No,
not at all.
He had some Mick Cronin facial expressions going on, like the side smile and stuff like that. I saw it.
He was not short. He was not angry.
Right, but I'm saying
Irish.
You shave his head and he does that side smile.
Maybe he's Irish.
I got some real Mick Cronin vibes from
him. Michael, I do not know. I mean, they haven't even put the shovel in the ground yet.
But that was brought up that he can't wait to get that shovel in the ground.
Yeah,
he did say that.
Yeah. So I believe the timetable on that is in the next 2 seasons. But T-Win, I'm not sure what's up with Walt. What does Prater do after the bowl game? That comes from Cincy's Wad 2341.
I think that comes down to how he performs in the bowl game and whatever conversation he has with coach. I mean, he is a dual threat quarterback. So sure. If he comes out and shows some crazy improvement over what we saw passing wise 2 weeks ago, whatever that was, it seems like forever ago now.
Yeah.
He was recruited by Satterfield to Louisville, so there's some familiarity there. If he thinks he needs to go somewhere else, maybe he does go into the portal. But
there may not be anybody to throw the ball to. So far, we've seen Josh. We've seen Josh bow out of the bowl game. He's not going to be playing in the Fenway Bowl. Josh Wiley, and we haven't heard anything from any of the receivers yet, outside of Jaden Thompson saying he's entered the transfer portal today. I don't know what the stipulations are once you've entered the transfer portal. If that makes you ineligible for bowl games, I'd assume that you wouldn't be playing in a bowl game if you were in the transfer portal.
I think what Chad brought up during the Peach Bowl, that Ben Bryant was in the portal and also the backup quarterback.
Well, I mean,
so I think there's that has to get worked out through.
Honestly, I'm just hoping that we have a kicker. That's my main concern. I
didn't even think about that.
Yeah. That's my main concern.
Hey, you know what?
When you get one from a frat house,
the Kerry Combs triple option is going to be alive and well. We're going for it on 4th down. We're not. I guess we still have our punter, so we're doing it all up triple option style.
But
Louisville will never expect it.
We'll at least know that Dante Corleone will be on the field. He is all in, and he wants to remind you every day. #all in. Also, Blue Smith has announced that he will be making his debut. Apparently, even though he had several catches this season, maybe it's his starting debut. I'm not really sure.
I would assume that's what he meant by that. Yeah,
but that to me says that we're probably going to be missing some other receivers.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially Tucker, potentially Tyler Scott, potentially Jaden. So we'll see what that means for Blue and where he slides up on the depth chart.
Maybe he's our new second tight end. Who knows?
God, I hope not.
I mean, this game is going to be like, I saw somebody say it's going to be like your annual turkey bowl, because there's so many guys that are either in the portal, not going to play because they're declaring for the draft. Like,
well, I mean, going back to the both teams on one sideline, like if you didn't care enough to put this bowl game in a place where you can actually fit a field formidably,
and it's the first bowl game of the year too, right? Like,
I don't know.
Do you think there'll be some hostility between two teams because of this whole coaching thing, that maybe putting them on the same sideline might actually backfire?
Louisville, there's always going to be like,
they're playing for a keg of nails.
The keg of nails is real.
I have one right here.
So,
How about that?
Way to go, junior equipment manager Ed.
I took it home. These things are expensive, by the way.
UCF superfan is right. I fear that it will be quite the.
Maybe that makes it the Evan Prater show, and we all have our hopes up because there's no one left. They're playing 9-on-9.
Hey, the little 7-on-7 flag football in the snow, in the middle of Fenway. I mean, but when you get back to it, like, that is kind of neat for those guys. Like, Fenway is a cool place. Like,
I mean, you walk around,
and when it comes down to it, like, this is just something for the players and the coach. Like, if it's not an NY6, it's not the CFP. Like, it's something for the players and the coaches to go, celebrate the season. Obviously, not everybody's going to be there, whatever. But they deserve it. They still had a good season. Like, this wasn't a 2-10 or 4-8. Like, they had a good season. So let them go celebrate it. Let them have fun. They get prizes.
I can't wait to see what's in their goodie bags.
So, yeah, and we'll root for them. I mean, we're still.
Is Chad gonna go? Do we know?
I don't know.
I don't think he's doing. He said, "Watch
if you don't
party."
Stop, I'm gonna take you out of the Zoom if you don't stop it with the arm of your microphone.
What happened?
It's so loud.
Okay, I can't even hear it.
So loud. Playing it like a guitar over there.
Wait a minute. Varen Vids says, y'all are gonna like Pete Thomas. Are you a Louisville faithful
insider?
Are you?
If you are, welcome.
Insider? Yeah.
Welcome
from what I've read about him, pretty excited. And I know, like, Chad's mentioned his connection with, obviously some of that, maybe most of it was NIL kind of things, but
thank you, Jason.
Yeah. So, Varen, since you're a Louisville guy, are you happy or sad at the departure of Satterfield?
Pete Thomas, a hell of a recruiter, according to Varen Vids.
Oh,
all right, I'll take it.
Greg Vito says that shit is loud as fuck, Big Ed.
I'm not touching it anymore. I'm sorry.
Heard of any fans attending the bowl game? I've seen quite a few people say that they're going to go. I mean, I'm not like a big cold weather person, so
I would love to go, but I think the first time I experience Fenway is a baseball game rather than a football game.
I've been. You walk in and you can feel the history. It's pretty awesome. Also, there's like a bar in the outfield where one wall opens up and you're in the outfield, like on ground level, which you can only sit at one of the tables right there in the cutout of the wall for 15 minutes, and they rotate you out, and you have to spend a certain dollar amount while you're there. Otherwise, you can't sit there.
So Varen says, yes, I assume he's happy he's gone, but he just says it was a bad fit, and that's a fair comment to make, and one where, like, you have to kind of temper some of your reaction of, like, oh, I see, like, all these Louisville fans don't like what UC fans love to see the fact that Luke Fickell, like, there have been some crazy things said about Luke Fickell since he left, and, like, got to temper that from
Oh,
all
he played
angles.
for the Los Angeles Kiss in the Arena League. That team was fire. That was an awesome team.
I don't know who you're talking about now.
Pete Thomas. He played for the
Okay.
Los Angeles Kiss in the Arena Football League in 2016.
And Todd brings up the same thing that we've mentioned before, that yes, there was the Adidas NIL money,
Right.
that he was able to utilize, but on top of that, he still had to make connections and get those guys to, because I'm sure that they could have gotten NIL money elsewhere. So he still had to make those connections and get those guys to commit to Louisville.
Look, I mean, the offense at the end of the day should end up in the next 2 to 3 years, if not as soon as season. The offense should be sexy. It should be back to what we want to see, what we wanted to see post Desmond Ridder. And regardless of who's at quarterback, they're going to try to run a sexy style offense again. Defense, on the other hand, I think will largely probably take a step back from what we have been accustomed to seeing over the course of the last several seasons. But again, as we go into the Big 12, what does every team do in the Big 12? Flashy offense and
just enough defense to hold
Right.
on.
So we'll see. I think they're falling in line with the rest of the Big 12, and I don't know that I necessarily love that, but at the same time, I'm not losing all hope. And again, I think right now I'd love to see somewhere in the realm of 6 to 8 wins in the first season, and I would consider that a successful season. But we'll see. So, anything else to add, or are we going to go talk some more football of the professional level?
I do want to hit this question because it just popped up and it looks like a very good one. Who's one player on the current team that you guys think we need to stay? Mine has already been answered and said, I mean, Dante Corleone is my guy, and he's already said he's going to stay. I think that's an anchor of that defensive line, and kind of I think he has a chance to be like that leader, that
Special.
Yeah, that kind of guy.
Yep.
And he's already said that he is like all in.
Chad, are you still there listening?
Okay.
Nope, he's on the phone. I was going to see if he wanted to answer that question. I don't want to put him in a spot if he is.
Yeah.
On the phone.
And Farron Vids, you're more than welcome to watch the show anytime. You seem like a great Louisville fan, and we'd love to stay connected with you.
For me, I would think Shema Mater is a guy that I'm excited is going to be back, especially with both Josh and you'd assume Lenny also leaving. That's going to leave a void at tight end. Quincy Burrows, I hope he sticks around. He was a guy who showed some flash in spring training and spring camp that I would love to see, even in fall camp. Would love to see him at receiver, as receivers obviously taking a big hit. Outside of that, I mean, the offensive line is going to be completely under repair if some of the seniors who walked are indeed leaving. And at that point, you just hope Joe Huber is still here. So we'll see. I agree. I would love to see JQ come back out of the portal. I don't want to see
my
guy. That's been my guy for a long, long time. He's one of my very favorite personalities on this team. And the reason he wanted to leave, from what we saw on Twitter before it was deleted, if you saw it, but we'll see. I think he'd be used potentially differently under a new staff here. So we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know about Ivan or Deshaun. I haven't heard anything official or seen anything
one way or the
out
other
of either of them. I mean, obviously we'd like to have them back. I mean, Ivan is a miniature missile running around the field that just hits everybody and blows everything up. So,
well, I mean, I don't know how he would raise his stock any more than being
you're right,
an All-American and being the conference defensive player of the year.
And highly rated on every rating scale that is out there alongside of Corleone. So,
all right. Maybe we save the other football segment until we get through basketball, but maybe
sounds good.
Maybe run through some UC hoops. I don't know if you're going to hit that noise again, or if we're just
Don't.
moving on.
Let's just move on.
No, just move on. Just move on. We won't hear that
We'll
noise.
we'll work on some new sounds and
Maybe.
potentially maybe have some better sounds. But switching gears to Cincinnati basketball, they played a game against Bryant and won handily against Bryant Bulldogs. I really was hoping to see some shenanigans out of Doug Edert, but that was not to be. But it's also Crosstown Shootout week, as the shootout against Xavier is on Saturday. So, did you, Ed? I know you at least watched the game once, if not twice. Jeff, I'm not sure if you got to.
I unfortunately did not get to watch it because my weekend was consumed entirely by work, and that was not good.
Huh.
I did get to pick up some of the I was following a little bit online, but this is more Ed's space, so I'll let Ed break it down.
Ed, what were your takeaways against Bryant, Ed?
Well, I mean, at first I thought it was a great game until, afterwards I found out that Bryant had some unknown illness. Why am I getting yelled at by Nick? Yeah.
Because that we didn't hit the buzzer, maybe.
Oh, I didn't do it because of Steven's dog. I thought it was a great game until I read about that. But I mean, besides that, we saw some guys come off of it. I'm trying to pull up the stats right now. I don't know why I didn't pull this up earlier.
I did see that Sage got some got a few minutes.
Sage got some time.
He set his red shirt on fire.
We had 6 guys in double digits. So DeJulius with 14 points. Victor Lockton just again showing us how much of a beast he is with 16 points.
Was that a slip, or did you mean to say locked in?
No, I was completely meant to say locked in.
All right.
Yeah.
He's all in on that, Aaron.
Yeah.
Good.
Davenport with 14, Skillings with 14, Hensley with 10, and Josh Reed with 10. I think I'm really liking the progression of Skillings. I think he
had a
nice
double, Ed.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying the progression we're seeing from the first game, I'm loving it.
Both Lock-in Skillings had a double, and Josh Reed was 1 rebound away from a double. Also worth mentioning,
with only 18 minutes.
Yeah.
DeJulius was 3 assists away from having a 4th double in that game.
Would have been amazing. I thought there was some. Somebody touched on it with I think it was Chad touched on it with Coach today about the technicals. I thought there were bad technicals. I didn't see anything there, but it was a good game.
Justin, wasn't me.
It wasn't okay. My bad, Chad. But I mean, I thought it was a great game altogether. The progression of these guys, I just think it's gonna be one of those. I mean, I guess it was good to have a game like this before going into Xavier, but then on the other side, I see a downfall. Like now are their heads big? Are they thinking, they're going to do the same thing against Xavier? Because as we know, records are thrown out the window when we play Xavier.
I don't think this team has a big head
at all.
They were humbled / humiliated in Maui. The only saving grace was that they did not lose to Louisville.
Who's 0-8 right now?
0-9, I think.
Oh, did they lose another one?
I don't know. They're bad. Bad.
I did see that Coach was talking about Vic and mentioned that last year when he kind of started to see him play and practicing when they first got there, I guess he said that the Dollar came into his office and was like, are you seeing kind of the same flashes that I'm seeing with this guy? Because he's going to be good. And his progression has started. And he mentioned that he didn't like to, I guess, Vic didn't like to hear that he was a freshman, whatever, last year, that he hadn't started making the transition all the way from playing a different style of basketball where he comes from to here. And that's starting to change, and you can see that he's starting to get really
he was also injured.
Yeah, right, exactly. But I see somebody. Where was it? Somebody said in the chat. Vito said that Skillings will be the next best player. Will be the best player on the team next year, and I could see that.
Yeah,
like I could see Skillings doing that.
Depends on if it depends on if Landers Nolly comes back for another year.
Right. Landers coming back. You've got some dudes coming in.
Rayvon.
Yeah, Rayvon, Jizzle, Dog.
Dog.
So, I mean, look,
Dog.
We're going into that week where, I mean, if you listen to Wes today, he said like it's a rivalry, like it's a game that is up there with the best that he's participated in.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about him, he's been a part of a pretty serious rivalry in North Carolina. So that, that's high praise. It's not just a game that's like another one on the schedule kind of thing. Like it means something. And I'm glad that he embraces it as such.
What are you saying?
And yes, I do agree, John. We do need some big bigs.
Well, and they have been recruiting Flory Badunga. They have been recruiting Santo. Like they're not.
Sage is here. He's
Sage,
9 foot tall.
They obviously set his red shirt on fire, and the only way that he gets,
I'm okay with it.
The only way that he gets this year back is if he gets injured, which you don't want to see that happen to a big.
No. So you know what? But use him.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's do it.
I kind of wish they would have done it in Hawaii for him.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
But obviously you didn't see Kalu play any minutes in this game. And I wonder if the staff is seeing what we're all seeing, and that when he's on the floor,
the flow's not there.
He runs ISO as a big, and it's for a team that has been, in their losses especially, struggling to pass the ball, move the ball, get assists. That's not how you want your offense to run through ISO through a big who ISO shouldn't be running through.
No.
So,
I just don't want to get run out of the gym.
I don't want to get ran out of the gym either.
I mean, you've seen like what's the guy's name? The center from last year. I did this last night too, and I still haven't retained his name for Xavier. That just started hitting everything.
Kunkel.
Kunkel.
Nope, not Kunkel.
No, it's not Kunkel. It's damn it! Hold on, I got you.
Nunji. What a weird name.
Yeah, that guy.
But he came out of nowhere. I mean, we've seen players come out of nowhere in this series. Obviously, I would like to see our big three. I would like it be our big three, all double digits, with Mike Adams, Woods, and Vic and Dan and Josh all chipping in, having 4 to 8 each and 5 rebounds each plus. So I don't know. I mean,
Wes also said it like when he was talking about I think maybe Josh Reed, and he's like, I told him like rebounds, like be selfish on them, go get them. Like that's the only thing you can be selfish about on the like.
He is hesitant.
Like go get them. Like you can get them. You can do that. Like you're good enough for that. Go get those rebounds and get me a lot of them.
I know a lot of people have compared him to Gary Clark. Do you think it's because he seems kind of just hesitant, a little shy early on in his career, and just his frame looks awful similar to Gary's as well? I
mean, he's young. Like he's gonna. I think that the team, from what I could tell, like I said, I didn't get to watch it really in depth, but like the Bryant game, I kind of saw as a game where it could be another game where we get beat, we lose, whatever, and it didn't seem that way. But the team seems to play a little bit better with Reed on the floor.
He is a way better shooter than Gary when Gary was here. Gary has since become a very good 3-point shooter, as we've seen his highlights in the NBA. But I agree, John White.
So far this year, Nunji has 0 points, 0 rebounds.
Oh no!
1 rebound and 0 assists.
Oh no!
They've been saving him, saving his juice.
They have. There are 1, 2, 3, 3
Triple
players
double
on this
loading.
team.
Sean Miller's like, I haven't given him Michael's special stuff yet.
Yeah. So be either Bradley Colbert, Bob Nungy, or Michael Wolf, who will go off on us. Watch.
Man,
I guess you could throw Elijah Tucker in there.
it's early, but with some development, could see Reed carve out a 3-and-D role in the NBA. Let's not talk about him in the NBA anytime soon. We want him here developing for some years.
Yeah.
Get out of here with that talk, Jason. Get out of
Yeah,
here.
come on, Jason.
Talking about what he can do against Xavier.
So
Pop
this is
off and win us the game.
Yeah.
This
Maybe
is-
he's the one. Maybe he's the one going like 5 of 7 from 3 and having just a game.
Yo, if Nolly has another game like he had against Arizona, like,
Man,
let's go. Let's do that.
we're all blaming Ed when all of them go off on us.
Yeah, thanks,
we're
Ed.
We're all blaming Ed. Jason.
Ed's a closet Xavier fan anyway. We've been over
That's
this
absolutely false.
numerous times.
That's,
He's-
if I can
he's-
move the camera right now, I would no.
He's a Trojan horse been sent by his brothers.
That's an absolutely false statement.
So
I'm gonna do a
I'm not-
TikTok of the man cave down here and post it so you can see that it's false.
I'm not making any predictions on the Xavier game.
I'm not either.
I want them to go and I just want it to play tough, make it a game, and
I'm
knock
interested
them
in
off their
seeing.
high horse.
I'm interested in
Tired of
seeing
listening
what
to Xavier fans.
I'm interested in seeing what Wes has to say about a crosstown shootout at Fifth Third, like what he thinks about the energy
Well, it's the first
coming out of
one.
that.
It's the first one of Fifth Third with
since 2018,
18.
19, 2018.
Yeah, because Xavier screwed Cincinnati after everything with COVID and refused to level the playing field.
I don't
They
know.
made Cincinnati eat the COVID year with no fans.
Speaking of which, did you see? Never mind. I'm not going to talk about that.
Daryl says Reed is listed as 6'7" on paper. How tall is he really? I've never seen him in person, so I can't say if that's like close. Chad maybe can chime in and say if 6'7" is closer to what he is. I don't know. He plays
Thrifty
that way.
boys.
We're always trying to determine what upperclassman large white man is going to murder us against Xavier.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Thrifty.
I don't want to. Oh, wait a minute. Time out. There are 2 Nungies on this team.
What?
There's
There's
Jack
more than
Nungy.
one Nungy?
Yeah,
I think
there's a Jack Nungy and a Bob Nungy, and Jack Nungy has 15 points this.
Why
oh,
did
he
these parents give these
averages
kids
15 points this year.
Why did these parents give these kids the most generic white guy names in the entire world?
Are they brothers?
Jack and I mean, I would
Come
assume
on,
so.
man. What are or cousins? First cousins.
Brothers.
They're brothers.
How tall is Reed really, Chad? It says 6'7" on paper.
His brother,
No, Reed.
No,
Reed is
Josh,
6'7" on paper.
Is
Reed Ducharme, the
Josh
recruit.
Reed. Josh Reed.
Oh, Josh
Josh
Reed.
Reed.
I thought you were talking Xavier. Josh is 6'7", a legit 6'7", 7'1" wingspan.
Oh,
Jesus.
Crazy.
never put him on the bench. Just leave him on the court.
Here's the thing with Josh, and from the first time I scouted Josh, and this has come true, the minute that they put him on the floor at UC, he knows how to play. He knows positioning. He understands offense, defense, how to move, how to cut, how to play. This is also a kid. I've told this story before. I interviewed him when he was 16 years old. And the first thought when I walked away from the interview was, that's a 16-year-old that's smarter than me. That's not a high bar, granted. But that's a 16-year-old that I walked away from like, that kid is unbelievable, right? Like, that's a kid that has his shit together at 16. I remember me at 16.
And it wasn't that.
It wasn't that.
Train wreck.
Train wreck. That's a kid that he wanted to major in geology. So when he took his official visit to UC, they took him into the geology department, and everybody worked in the geology department, like came out of their offices like he was like a museum Like
Chad Dollar didn't know anything about the geology department.
He didn't know what a geology department was.
He may not have known where the science department was, for that matter.
It's geology. Is that the study of rocks?
Yes.
Yeah. Fossils, rocks.
Well, there you go. 16-year-old Josh Reed was also smarter than 45-year-old Ed. So
No, I knew what it was. I was just making sure I was right.
I took 3 geology classes at Wright State. Why? Because I had all of the answers for all of the tests. And I didn't go to a single class.
I took 3
Not because
classes.
you like geology.
No. I had all of the answers to all of the tests.
nice.
Josh Reed is I said it in the summer. I said Josh Reed is going to be 1,000-point scorer at UC. He might not ever be the best player on the team in his time at UC, but he is always going to be a guy that contributes, that hits shots, that plays defense, that just makes smart plays. I love Josh Reed.
What's the study of the stars? And it's
Astronomy.
Astronomy.
that was my worst class. I hated that class.
Huh.
What is Josh Reed shooting from? Looks like 83% from 3.
5 of 6?
I just looked up the percentage.
I mean, that would be either 5 of 6 or 10
Yeah.
of 12. I don't think he's taken 12 yet.
Yeah. So there you go, John. 83.3%.
Considering Ed didn't know the name of his class or of the class, I'm not surprised that was his worst. None of us are. Jason. none of us.
So it is shootout
Passed.
week. Go to Skyline, buy a shootout basketball.
They didn't have any.
If you want. Ed's got a Skyline bucket hat. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. Don't do that. Take that money, send it on over to Cincy Reigns. All right, moving on.
Fair. That's fair.
The Cincinnati Bengals played Patrick Mahomes this week,
I think you meant to say
And
owned Patrick Mahomes.
but they put on a show. Both teams.
Side note, Samaje Perine, maybe he could play basketball because he dribbles full-size humans.
Off the ground. He dribbles her head off the ground.
I love that it happened to maybe the best possible person it could have happened to this past week, and that was safety Reed.
The
Is
guy
it
that
Justin Reed. I want
yeah.
to make sure I get his name right because he has an issue getting other people's names.
number 20. He wears number 20.
I do love Bengals talk. I mean,
Hey,
and it's fun now. I lived through the 90s. It's fun now to do this. I know he got hit with an angry run for the second week in a row. I don't know if he won angry run this week, but
rated monetization.
I mean, it was.
Oh. I think we
It's
play audio,
fun.
so I thought we were good.
It's very fun that the Cincinnati Bengals clearly have Patrick Mahomes' number, much in the same way that, and it'll be checked again this week, but the Cleveland Browns have Joe Burrow's number.
Yeah, and that's a game that's coming up. But let's talk about the excitement from beating the Chiefs yet again. I know that it came at the expense of one Cincinnati Bearcat faithful, Travis Kelce, who had his heart literally ripped out of his chest when Jermaine Pratt pulled the ball out of his hands.
Yep.
And that play right there, it kind of sums up this Bengals team. Like
They're scrappy.
Like they don't care who you are, and they went after him again. And I'm tired of Tony Romo on the call, and I know I'm bouncing around the game, but like this popped in my head, and I got to say it. Sorry, Tony Romo. So it was the next drive. There was a completed pass to Travis Kelce, and he got tackled, and like Jermaine Pratt was again trying to rip the ball out, but if you noticed, Kelce just swept his own feet out and fell down to the ground immediately. And then stood up. It was a first down. He stood up and like bumped chest with him and pointed. And they're like, "Oh, you've awakened the beast." and then we didn't really hear from him again. So, you know what, Tony Romo, pack it in.
So Patrick Mahomes was 16 of 27, 223, 1 touchdown, sacked twice. Joe Burrow, on the other hand, 25 of 31, 286, 2 touchdowns, only sacked once. This offensive line is finally clicking, running on all cylinders at this point. And P. Ryan had 21 carries, 106 yards. Jamar Chase had 7 catches, 97 yards. I know people are trying to call him on his offensive PI, the way that he runs routes and all of that. I don't know if that's popped up in your Twitter timeline.
If they don't throw a flag, it's not PI. Sorry.
And the same can be said for
Fair.
one of my favorite hashtag Bearcats in the NFL,
Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner. If you don't throw a flag, it's not PI. That's just the way it works.
Sorry about your luck. Samaje Perine also had 6 receptions for 49 yards.
So what happens when Joe Mixon comes back next week? Do we just interchange them? I mean, fresh legs.
Maybe you ease him back in.
Yeah.
So that P. Ryan start bring
P. Ryan's maybe looked better outside of Joe Mixon's one Joe Mixon game.
Well, it's funny because I asked you guys last week. I said, "Do we have a problem at running back?" And you guys said, "Absolutely not."
Well, we
It
did.
kind of sounds like you're.
I don't think that is a
changing.
problem. That's not a problem to have. I think it's a problem at all.
Well, I meant a good problem at running back, but yeah.
Michael
I think
says the
now I
Bengals are going to go to the Super Bowl. I mean,
Now I finally understand why they were giving P. Ryan so many carries, like where he was getting entire drives. I hadn't seen this side of Samaje P. Ryan, not in a Bengals uniform,
I love
not
it.
since he was with Washington.
I mean, if you go back, like, I mean, I'm pretty certain he still holds the NCAA record for most rushing yards in a game.
Samaje P. Ryan?
Yeah.
And he was on the same Oklahoma team as Joe Mixon
Correct.
for, I believe, the same exact years that Joe Mixon.
I don't know if it was all the same years or if they were 1 year apart. Maybe. I don't know.
It's only a problem for Joe Mixon fantasy owners.
Yeah.
Dan Ward told me this today. I would have never known this in my entire life if Dan Ward didn't tell me today. Samaje Perine is the leading rusher in the history of Oklahoma football. You said single game. The history of Oklahoma football. Samaje Perine rushed for more yards than anyone else. He ran for 4 million yards that day.
He did. It did. That's always been like the stat that I pull out about him when people want to like say like, oh, like he wasn't like I don't know if he still does because it's been a couple years since I've looked at it. But like,
I looked it up.
Okay, so he does
427 yards.
Greg, this is going to be the first. This is going to be maybe the first game that the Bengals have the opportunity to try and actually flex that they can beat a powerful rusher because the offensive line is clicking right now on all cylinders.
They did it against the Steelers. That Watt was back and Hayward was still there in that game coming off the bye, and they held them. Yeah, Watt was coming off of injury, but he played.
The only
he
reason,
played.
Yeah,
correct. I'm still left with a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, regardless that we won, just in the fact that it was that close of a game against a terrible Pittsburgh Steelers team.
But a terrible Pittsburgh Steelers offense.
Yeah.
That put up a lot of points.
Jason brings up a good point. That
you're right. But I'm talking about the Cincinnati offensive line was drastically better in the second Steelers game than they were the first. That's all. That's the point I'm making.
And Jason brings up a good point. The Chiefs were top 5 in sacks in the NFL, and they barely touched Joe.
Maybe the offense should have kept the defense off the field, Chad.
I will cut you.
Long-time listeners understand that one.
Aaron, you've already walked off one day this week. Let's not do that again.
Look, I'm in such a better headspace today.
Aaron can laugh today. Like yesterday, Aaron couldn't laugh. There was nothing I could do to get Aaron to laugh yesterday.
I'll tell you what.
It literally took 4 hours for me to get Aaron to laugh yesterday.
I don't often break away like this and just go completely off tangent from what we're talking about. But when I was in the doctor's office right before, they're doing shots on my little girl, and she's just laying there and just cooing and laughing, and I'm like, this is the best mood you've been in all week. And it's at the doctor's office where you're about to get shots, and then she cries, and it's like 2 cries, and then she's done. I'm like, tough girl, love it. Yeah, I've been in a fantastic mood.
I was watching the show last
night.
night.
You made people uncomfortable last night, Aaron.
I think our entire podcast made people.
I was watching it. I was watching it with Parker.
7 minutes in, you lost your mind.
I was watching it with Parker, and Parker just goes, "Daddy, did Aaron leave?"
Yep.
I said, "Yes, he did." Bud.
Circling, putting this train back on the tracks. Greg Vito brings up that Garrett is a monster and has really crushed us in recent games. I mean, there's no arguing that.
Agreed.
Right.
So
sure, absolutely.
But I do think that this offensive line is starting to come together.
Deshaun looked rusty as shit.
Well, of course he did.
Man, he's bad.
He hasn't played in a year and a half. And I don't think you want to play this. I don't think you want to play this. He can't be excited about playing this defense this week.
I
hope
I hate that I can't remember who tweeted it, but somebody tweeted out Hendrickson against Orlando Brown, and I know Hendrickson didn't get home for much, but he had anything he wanted against.
He gets held every single play.
Yeah, he does.
Every single play.
I mean, the things that he can do out there, he was still getting pressure on him and still getting quarterback hits.
He lives in a headlock, Jeff.
Yeah.
In a headlock. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I tried to go to Cincy Shirts. Well, I did go to Cincy Shirts today to buy it, but they didn't have it in my size. The Karras 316 shirt. Have you guys seen that yet? So they did a Ted Karras shirt. It says Karras 316. I explained it to the wife last night and then play her the whole King of the Ring thing.
Jason says Watson probably hasn't had a massage in 700 days either, so that's got to be rough for him.
Yeah, it has to be stressful.
Self massages still count.
Thrifty Walrus from the top rope is Aaron wearing the headband in honor of Baker Mayfield going to the Rams.
Look,
Thrifty Walrus. Okay, so do I need to hire this guy? Thrifty Walrus?
Thrifty Walrus also said odds that Travis Kelce walks out of New Heights podcast this week.
When the game was over, I sent a text and I said, New Heights should be interesting this week.
You did send that. I'm excited for it to download tonight. I'm going to listen to it first thing in the morning.
Thrifty Walrus, what's your going rate? What's your going rate, Thrifty Walrus?
You want to write one-liners for you?
Slide into Chad's DMs, Thrifty Walrus.
I think, I like the way he's been playing. And this could have just been nitpicky, but I thought he missed quite a few tackles.
He almost had a pick when I think three guys ran into each other in the middle of the.
When Bates shouldered him in the gut and knocked it out. Yeah.
Did you guys also see?
I like him on the field. I like him play. I think he's.
There hasn't been a significant drop off. I mean,
without losing Awuzie, I thought
but it hasn't left us reeling, right?
No.
I was terrified that when Awuzie went down, that this whole season might be over because not having a formidable replacement for him, that we would be hurting. And Taylor Britt has certainly been putting in work.
Vito, do we know what the deal is with Hurst? Did anybody I meant to look it up?
A calf strain.
Is this Scott Satterfield?
Scott, welcome.
Saying the New Heights podcast is going to be UC's NIL money.
I'm here for it.
Secret nuggets here.
Imagine.
For those listening on the podcast, there's somebody in the chat just named Scott S. So we make jokes.
Yeah. And having Jamar back, even with his kind of boneheaded unsportsmanlike conduct that he had, which I'll allow it in that situation.
Oh, I was 100% allowing that when I didn't hit the boom mic when I did that.
Jason,
I was here for it.
Jason, there are only 2 situations where I wear visors. In high school, I wore it. In college, I guess, for a little bit. Backwards and to the side in college. Yeah, I was that guy.
I think I have a picture of you with the visor on
I'm
from
sure
high
you do.
school.
And
Vito-
golfing. I'll wear a visor golfing.
Vito says that Hurst is going to be out for a few weeks.
That's what it sounds like.
That sucks.
That sucks.
'Cause he's brought like a special kind of energy. I don't think that will fall off locker room wise. Obviously on the field, like he does some special things, but you know we got Mitchell Wilcox, and Joe Burrow is more than capable of turning him into a great tight end. He did it with Trent Irwin.
Do we still have Asi?
The
The tight end that we picked up from the New England Patriots, Asi. But think about this: if we can get to the playoffs without Hayden Hurst, and then you bring him back to make a playoff run and make sure he is all the way back, you have to bring him back.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it being more serious than they're letting on, because I mean, he was pretty quickly like checked and then like helmet removed from and beanie put on. So
Mitchell Wilcox and Devin Asi, yeah.
Yep. So, but
Oh, that looks like an
Wilcox made a couple catches. He had what did he have? He had one reception for 13 yards, but it was a key one. And T. Higgins had 3 receptions for 35 yards, while not a huge stat line. He did have the game sealing catch where he had absolutely no business catching that ball, and like Burrow had no business putting it in that tight window, but he did because that's what he does. And then the touchdown that T had was a man kind of touchdown. I mean, he caught the ball and then drug a few guys into the end zone. So
he was a grown man.
So I wanna run I'm in for Mo tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here tonight mapping
That's on
out
15:30, right?
15:30, 3 to 6.
Does this have anything to do with the Bengals?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, this is directly 100% Bengals related.
Well, otherwise I was going to move it to the lightning round. But
No, this is Bengals. I'm running my main Bengals topic by you guys for tomorrow.
Proceed.
The Bills and the Chiefs, okay? Right now. And we're talking about right now in the NFL, like the NFL
landscape
big picture. The big picture. You expect the Bills and the Chiefs to, going into the season, worst case scenario is those teams win 12 games, right? 19 games scheduled, or 17 games scheduled now, 18-week season, whatever. You're expecting 12-5 is the bottom of the scale for the Bills and the Chiefs. Now, maybe somebody gets hurt, like major or whatever, and they dip a little bit. But the start of this season, if I'd have told you over under 11.5 on Bills and Chiefs, all of us would have taken over, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
In order for the Bengals to be considered that, yes, they had a great run last year. But in order for them to take that next step, they need to be a team that we consider is going to contend for that 1 seed, the bye, right? They probably screwed the pooch this year, losing those first 2 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They should have beat the Steelers. The Cowboys game, I mean, Bengals-Cowboys, that's going to be close. But
and it was winnable.
Yeah.
It was winnable.
That's probably going to keep them from that 12, 13, 14 win range, unless they just win out in the next 5
crazy.
games. Yeah. But do you think this Browns game tells the tale? Because we have seen in the last year and then into this year, they've had games like, and maybe not the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are kind of the standard bearer right now, but they've had these big wins. And then they've come back a week later and kind of shit the bed.
Oh,
it's a trap game.
It's monumentally.
No,
I think it's monumentally important. It's
I don't like the trap game thing, Aaron, but I'm talking about just a pattern. Like, right? They've shown a pattern of shitting the bed a little bit.
Now they've
won 4 a big win like Kansas City.
They've won 4 games in a row for the first time in in the Zach Taylor
era.
Yeah.
But I think, to your point, that the game against the Browns, who are a team that we all expect them to throttle, they need to do it. It's at home. If you can't lose that game, you can't take all the momentum that you've built. I mean,
Not
going
with
in
the rest of the schedule still looming. Brady's
behind,
on fire lately.
Like Chad said, I mean, you're kind of behind the 8 ball right off the rip because you lose the first 2 games. You're 0-2.
So this Browns game is way more important because of what happened those first 2 games and the first Browns game where they got embarrassed.
And the remaining schedule is the Buccaneers, the Patriots, the Bills, and the Ravens. You're looking at playoff teams.
Tampa's winning game. Tom Brady is doing Tom Brady things. They're not playing great, but they're winning.
Well, I mean, New Orleans kind of gave Tom that game.
But
yes.
Tom Brady has done that.
Still winning
800 times in his career. Tom Brady has won 800 games like that in his career, right? Like,
I don't know. I've never seen a guy go out of bounds before a first down marker when he had the first down and he just went out of bounds before the first down marker.
You haven't watched many Patriots games. This is Tom Brady his whole career.
Doesn't make sense.
It's who he is, right? Like, who he is.
But yeah, I mean, they've been saying this. Their playoffs started after the bye week.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to win this game. I think it's very important to win this game convincingly.
You also have an opportunity with Lamar Jackson out to take the
who knows how long he's going to be out.
North lead.
Yeah. Does anybody? I mean, I saw anywhere from 1 week to 4 weeks for him to be out.
Wait and see.
But you've got the Browns game, which you should win.
Do you want to do that real quick?
I would even say, we already know that you and I took the L this week, and I happily took the L. Aaron took the dub.
So Aaron's ahead 2-1.
Okay.
2-1-1.
Okay. What are the picks for this week?
All 3 of us said a win.
You got to.
So we can't. I mean, you have to, but we can't take the lead on Aaron. So, boo. and then after the Browns, we roll into who we play after the Browns?
Bucks.
The Bucks. So obviously, we just discussed with Tom Brady starting to do his thing there. And
you called it a win, and Aaron and I called it a loss.
Oh. All right. And then
Patriots?
What? Then
Patriots?
The Patriots, which I think we should win that game, right?
All 3 of us said wins.
Okay.
And Bills?
Buffalo, all 3 of us said losses.
And Ravens.
Jeff and Ed said wins. Aaron said the loss. I think that was before the whole Lamar thing. So
sure.
Oh.
It was certainly before this
Yeah,
week.
I mean,
oh yeah.
I don't really want to go back and look at what we said at the very beginning of the year. So
no, we just keep this sticky note.
Your playoffs started right after the bye. So
I think going into the bye,
going.
they started. I mean, that winning that game right into the bye was important. And then you got your bye week, got kind of healthy, got things squared away with the way they needed to get them done. And obviously now they've ripped off another 3 in a row. And you're coming up against a Browns team, which has kind of had our number. So
got to beat the Browns. Look, okay, so here's the thing.
To.
Like in that record conversation, right? In that record conversation, they're at 8. They got 5 left. If you beat the Browns, you're at 9. You go 2-2, you get 11.
Yeah,
11.
If you're at 11.
11 will get
you're
you
in the playoffs. No questions asked. And you're in a pretty good spot to play a home game. Your first game.
12 or 13 will clinch you a bye and maybe home field advantage throughout.
Right. But that's what I talked about where the Bills and the Chiefs are. They're going to get every year to 12 or 13. I presented this to Dan Horde today about 11, 12, 13 wins.
If you beat both the Chiefs and the Bills, though, those are tiebreakers, and those are huge.
Yeah, but you got to make sure they're not a 2 ahead of you.
Sure.
You got to tie them to get to the tiebreakers.
For the first time in maybe our lives, though, the AFC East is a gauntlet. So I don't know that the Bills are necessarily just going to win because they're the best team over in the AFC East.
No, they're not the Patriots at this point. Where the Patriots just
where
dog walk.
Right, where the Dolphins were shit, the Jets were shit.
Yeah, no, you're right for sure.
I mean, the Bills are 1-2 in their division.
Yeah,
right.
Case in point. Yeah, perfect.
Bengals are 1-3 in their division. So
right.
There is that.
I'm just talking about like big picture. Like if you're gonna be one of those dominant teams, you've got to be a 12, 13 win.
Sure.
And like Dan, when I was talking to him about it today, he said, like in the 17 game thing now that everybody's dealing with, 11 wins is the new 10.
Yeah.
You used to have to get to 10 to feel comfortable that like you were going to get in and be in a good spot and not be like at the bottom of the food chain having to play 3-4 road games, right? Like 3 road games, whatever, wild card round, divisional round, conference championship, all on the road. If you get to 11, you're probably going to win your division. You're probably going to play at least a home game, like at some point on the way. And then
Jason points out the fact that the Patriots, like their division sucks so bad they started every year 6-0 basically.
Right. Or 5-1. 5-1 was a bad start.
Right.
If you told them that at the end of the season they were going to be 5-1 in the division, they would be like, shit. I just wanted to present my theory before I go on radio with it tomorrow.
Yeah. No, I think it's a very valid theory.
Get to 11. You have to get to 11. Minimum 11.
Race to 11, and anything on top of that is gravy.
And that's what the top teams in the NFL do. There's only really been in recent memory one team or one franchise that has snuck in twice and won a Super Bowl. That's the Giants, right? Neither of those Giants teams were both 9 wins, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then they won the Super Bowl just because of their pass rush and Eli was just good enough. But if you're going to consistently be in consideration to win a Super Bowl, 11, 12, 13 wins, home field in the second round, maybe you don't have the bye as the number 1, but like you have to be in contention for that.
And you've got to think that, I mean, the Bengals are in kind of a unique spot with a quarterback that is
That's
a
the other thing.
MVP. That's a key component. Obviously, I think everybody knows that. And then they've got the weapons around him, but he showed when all of his weapons aren't there that he can just choose somebody else.
Yep.
He'll just pick somebody else and make them his new weapon. And I thought that was, obviously very
one
key
without
in the last few
Jamal.
weeks. Right,
One
exactly.
without Jamal, one without Joe.
He's like, everybody's like, oh, Joe just throws the little check downs to Jamar and then he runs, crazy. It's all Jamar. And obviously, like, we knew different and he showed different. So
that third down throw to T still, man.
Unbelievable. I've watched it 100 times and I don't know how he didn't get sacked. I don't know how he didn't get sacked. I don't know how that guy didn't hit his arm. I don't know
how T caught it.
It looked, for all intents, like it looked like a busted play. Like nobody really. It looked like it was developing so slowly in the backfield, but then when you look downfield, everything is developing very quickly. And then he threw an absolute seed, and somehow T. Higgins caught it. And I know, like, if you watched any of the post game stuff, like when they're interviewing T about it, he's like, I had like a little bit of, there's a lot of traffic or whatever. And Tyler Boyd came over and was like, you had 2 steps on him.
No, you didn't. That's false. That was not true.
They were literally the size of the football is how much space there was there.
And it was smaller than the Dr. Pepper
chest pass competition.
It was smaller than that.
I was also super impressed with just the way Joey was running the ball. Like,
with the
something
confidence
wasn't there, and he's finally figured out how to slide.
He's sneaky fast.
He's finally figured out how to slide. He's doing baseball slides, and they're still not beautiful, but they are better than what they were even at the beginning of the season.
Jason brings up another good Burrow witchcraft. That's exactly what it looked like. It looked like he hit a button and paused the pass rush, and like everything around him like froze in time except for him throwing a seed.
All right.
Thank you, Brian.
Let's get out of Bengals talk. Let's get into the lightning round.
Yeah, you guys do your thing. I got to plan a radio show.
All right, I'm gonna check this off then.
What you want? Do you need me for something?
No, I was gonna bring up the CBS report, but that's fine.
Put it in the lightning round.
That's Bengals talk. I'm not worried about it. It's all good. Let's go to the lightning round.
I didn't know you had another point. Do you want to bring up your point?
Nope, it's fine.
Sounds are back.
So quiet.
I'll turn it down for Steven's talk.
Ed, you're leading us off.
Oh man. So we talked about it a little bit earlier. I didn't see that in there. Remember that concession stand sign I bought?
Yeah.
So for people who don't know, when they shut down Fifth Third Arena and started renovations, I collect memorabilia. I wanted something for the basement. And the only thing I was finding was this UC was selling on their surplus website this awning that said condiments on it. And I thought it was this little small awning that would put like on the post near the concession stands. And I bid like $20 on it. Didn't think anything of it. 2 weeks later, I get a notification that I won. And I'm like, oh,
It's
okay.
like 6 feet tall.
I go to pick it up and it fills up the back of my truck. Like, there's no way I'm getting this thing in my basement. So it sat in the garage for a good, 6 months until I could.
You wanted to make a tiki bar out of it.
I thought about putting it above the deck in the backyard, like right above the grill, but I didn't know if it would melt or anything. It was like a vinyl. But anyways, long story short, I sold it like 6 months later for like $125. Made money off of it. I was driving to Cincy Shirts today. I was on Clough Pike. I look over. That sign is posted above somebody's like door going into their garage.
You saw the condiment sign?
The condiment sign. I was going to take a picture of it, but there was a cop behind me, and I didn't want to get pulled over. But there it was. They put it like above an entry door, like not a garage door, but like an entry door. So it's like an awning going into their garage. So if you're ever on Clough Pike, heading down into Cincinnati, down towards Beachmont, on the left-hand side, you'll see it.
All right.
Why? And that's the buzzer.
Yep.
Jim Leonard is apparently no longer going to be under Coach Fickle's staff. It came out as we were doing the podcast tonight. But he says in his official release, after discussions with my family and Coach Fickle, I will remain DC through the bowl game, but no longer be a part of the staff after the conclusion of the 2022 season. I don't know anything as to where he is going, but I find it interesting. I know that that's a name that at least the fan base has talked about being a potential fit here. Obviously, we have the DC taken care of. Can't see it being a fit here at this point, but just interesting that he will not be there.
He'll probably go to Colorado too.
And I just kind of enjoy things that don't work out for Fickle at this point. Breads Fest happened this weekend, and Ellie De La Cruz was there. He just looks like a superstar, not only when he is on the field, but off the field. He just has the look. He has the swag. I know you guys saw the pictures of him on stage. What were your takeaways of him sitting up there?
I mean, he looks the part.
Yeah.
There was a lot. It seemed like a lot of the things I saw out of there obviously were like very like future leaning, like prospects. And I think a friend of the show, Clay Snowden, pointed out that there was like one of his favorite parts was the panel for the Reds futures guys that are in the minors that they had there, seemingly because they didn't have a lot of their regular guys there, I guess. I don't even know who's on the team anymore. So that's my thoughts.
All right. Joey Votto played chess. I meant to throw this in last week.
I saw Joey Votto's chess, and I was like, what the hell is he going to talk about? But
Joey
I realized
Votto,
that's spelled different.
He said his first over the board chess tournament. Wish me luck. This actually should have been last week's, but I thought it was worth bringing up again.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Red said, "Good luck, King," to him in his Instagram comments, and he responded back, "I got flattened by a 9-year-old, more like pawn."
Yeah.
Real quick, let's redo our final stretch predictions.
No,
You don't want to redo them?
no, those are set in stone.
There's been injuries. There's been
I
momentum.
don't care. You have to take that into account when you make your final stretch prediction.
All right. Well,
No. Mo and Dan and Terry would never change.
yeah, they do it right before the game.
Yeah, that's fair, actually.
So to answer
Okay.
Jason's questions, then I don't care if the rest of you do it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, no, we can redo them. We can redo the rest of them on the way out here.
You don't have to put them on the post-it, Ed. I don't care.
Okay.
I'll remember mine.
Put them on the post-it, Ed. You can put like version 2.0.
All right, hold on.
All right,
And then-
Browns.
2.0.
Dub.
Browns. Finn, Ed, Jeff, and Aaron.
Bucks.
Dub.
Ed, Jeff,
Switched it up.
and Aaron.
You're not
Patriots.
saying yours, Ed.
He's saying them as he's writing.
Yeah.
Patriots.
Win.
Dub.
Bills.
L.
I'm going with an L on that one.
Dub.
Aaron,
Because they're going to have people sitting out because they think they got the conference.
Ed, and Jeff.
Oh, tricky thought process, Aaron.
And Ravens.
Dub.
L.
Oh, I'm going win.
I can't go 5. They're not going 5-0 and then making a Super Bowl run. You got to take the L and then make your Super Bowl run.
I didn't
All
say
right.
but I gave him an L against.
Well, I would have had to.
It's in there. It's 2.0 now.
All right.
All right.
Okay, go ahead. What do you have next?
Ed, you trimmed your beard.
Where'd
Yes.
it go?
So, like I said, I was up late on Sunday night and, waiting for information to come out about a new head coach and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just kind of going like this the whole time I'm reading stuff. And it just felt like I had a bald patch right here. Right. And so I just went ahead and shaved it off. Restart it.
I'm not certain that it's entirely
It's this light.
okay.
Yeah. Because when I signed on tonight, I was like, that does look weird.
It looks
But-
crooked.
In the mirror, it's fine.
All right. I'll take your word for it.
I've got one after this. I didn't put it on the list, but I've got one. How do you feel
I don't want
about the Dr. Pepper halftime throwing contest
Debacle?
there's a two-parter.
A sham?
It's a two-parter. Being a chest pass contest for one. I think they should have to throw it in a normal football passing motion, not a I don't know, whatever
It's not
that.
volleyball.
It's not it's not a basketball chest pass. It's not that little I don't know what that play was that the Bengals ran, the little pitch in the middle thing they did. None of that. I don't like it. I think they should have to throw it regularly. Also, did you see the one where they tied in regulation and then they move them a yard closer, I think, or a half yard closer, and then they do 15 seconds, and they also tied in that, and then the winner was determined the day before on a tiebreaker that was not public to anybody else. I think they should have had to keep going.
They were shamed actually into paying both by Twitter.
Really?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. They gave out 2 $100,000 scholarships.
Good.
The whole thing was a sham, and they ended up with egg all over their face.
That was the best. That was the best one out there. I mean, those two girls were going at it, tied at the last second in regulation.
One bounced it in, and it bounced out, and they counted it.
And then then they tied on literally the horn went off and the ball went through and it tied it. And then the one girl's celebrating and nobody knows why she's like the winner. And they're like, oh, yesterday they did something yesterday. And that was the tiebreaker.
Well, I think that makes Dr. Pepper outside looking in bum of the week.
Yep. Okay.
We haven't gotten that far.
Well, that's where we're going to right now.
Outside, that was my transition for you, Ed.
We're at an hour and 50 minutes.
Damn bum, you know that? Bum. A bum. You're a bum. And that's all you'll ever be. A bum.
Well, that hurts, man.
Bum of the week. Who you got?
Somebody has the first one there.
Ed.
I didn't put a bum in.
Well, I don't know who put NFL in.
Not me. Take it out. Go next one.
All right, Ed.
I didn't put that one in either.
Jeff.
That's me. I thought Ed was going to do the NFL or whatever. It's Tyler Griever for me. The guy that came up from Louisville to try to bait coach into, I don't know, saying hateful things about his former employer, which I thought he expertly smacked away. And then the guy,
this is why we do this segment, Chad.
Then the guy posts that we're waiting around for a breakout interview, and they told us that only Cincinnati and media market guys get the breakout interviews.
Why?
Correct.
Why would the SID of any school allow a reporter from their former school one-on-one time as they're becoming the head coach of a new school?
Especially after the string of questions you asked in the main press conference.
All he was trying to do was to go viral.
Yes.
That's it.
I guess he did because he's a bum.
No, he didn't. He didn't go. I mean, he went local viral. Like, of course, the Louisville people are gonna love that he showed up and was trying to ask
him.
Jeff. Here's one thing I hate: this whole ask the tough questions.
Those weren't even tough questions. They were stupid questions.
They were stupid. But Louisville fans, this guy showed up and asked the tough questions that we wanted him to ask. Why did you leave Louisville? Because I wanted a new job. I thought, what do you think you're going to get him on tape saying that's going to make you? It was clout chasing at its finest, right? This is exactly what clout chasing is.
Yes.
You show up at this press conference and try to corner Scott Satterfield into saying the one. And all you need if you're trying to clout chase is that one, Ed, you do a lot. You do this shit. You've done it.
I do a lot of clout chasing.
Times.
Thanks, Chad. Yeah.
You do it to me 30 times. You always are clout chasing me on
how?
Here's what Chad said. It's hard. It's hard. I'm messing with you, Ed. I'm joking.
I was trying to think of the time I actually did that.
You clipping stuff I've said.
Oh yeah.
Put it out there
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's how you. That's how you do the internet. I'm aware of that. I'm okay with that. That's exactly what he was trying to do. He was trying to get Scott Satterfield to say one sentence that he could clip, go viral, and clout chase.
Yeah,
and
you're absolutely correct. And then they did his live remote from Nipper
Stadium. Yeah, get the fuck out. Get out. If I would have known that he was going to do that, I would have tackled him.
I would have loved to see the video of Chad fighting someone on the 50-yard line at Nippert Stadium.
I can see it now. Justin going, Chad, probably not a good idea, buddy.
This is my school.
Chad.
We could have sold Rough and Rowdy tickets to that.
Oh, can we do that?
We're still live, Chad. This isn't the post game.
I know. I forgot to post something to that, and I'm going to post it right now.
Okay. Can we do
on
that
BearcatJournal.com or on your Twitter?
No, on Twitter.com.
Can we do that for NIL money? Can we set up a boxing match between you and this guy in the middle of Nippers?
Yeah.
Just collect money for NIL. I'll train you.
Oh man.
I hit the boxing gym again tomorrow.
All right. Moving on. Next one.
Justin Reed. Who put that one? Oh, I did. Sorry. Just the fact that Justin Reed came back out on Twitter today and said, or yesterday was it, and said that
after he apologized,
he came out and said that he was right
because he wasn't in the city anymore. He didn't have to worry about getting a Molotov cocktail to the bus if he tried to double down on. Yeah, we locked him up.
That's
Tuna
fair.
in a can.
And
Tuna in a can.
And his head was bounced off the turf.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Tuna can.
Who's got the last one?
I had the very last one because this was just posted 4 hours ago and I just saw it. Louisville Athletics posted a video of them taking the keg of nails out of a trophy case.
Yeah, it was no, come on. It was at that guy's house.
Exactly. Like they knew where it was this whole time.
Ed, you want to go? You want to go post what I put on Twitter?
That's gonna wrap it up. That was another episode of Pardon the Punctuation.
No. It's important, Aaron. It's important.
Hold on, I gotta find it.
It's important.
Normally I get notifications when you tweet.
I just tweeted 1 second ago. I just hit send.
I did see this. I saw this on Twitter today as well.
You know what that is?
That's where the Big 12 logo is going to go.
That's the logo's gone.
Yeah, the AAC. The AAC has been washed.
Finally,
it's no longer a part of our history.
It should look like this.
Good riddance.
This is what it should look like.
That's how they should do it, Jeff. Just put that on the field.
Yep, I did that way back when we announced we were going to the Big 12, and I have a flag that looks like that, so it'd be cool if that was the logo. Sure, there's probably reasons why they can't. I don't know, but.
And that's going to wrap it up. That was another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. As always, I'm Aaron Smith. For Jeff Howell, for Ed Mayhall, and for Chad Brendel and his pop-in appearances. Join us next week, 9:15. We'll see you there.
Bye.
Da-da-da.